Welcome developers. In this exciting new video series, we'll dive into the amazing world of ChatGPT from OpenAI. We will kick things off by showing you how to make a request using this powerful API. Before we jump into the nitty-gritty details, let's quickly see what the OpenAI API is all about. It is a service that is provided by OpenAI. It allows developers like you and me to tap into the incredible capabilities of their language models. The advantage is, with just a few lines of code, you can integrate their model into your application. Now, let's get started with making our first API request. The first thing you'll need is your API key, which acts as your passport to the OpenAI APIs. So what exactly does this API key do? Well, it serves as your virtual identity card. It allows the OpenAI servers to recognize you, to verify that you have the necessary permission to use their API services. To create the API key, you need to open the link given in the description below, https platform.openai.com account API keys. Click create new secret key and this generates a new key. Remember to copy the new API key that was generated, and there you have it. You now have your very own API key that will serve as your ticket to unlock the potential of the OpenAI API. Next, we are going to discuss a best practice for storing your API key when working with the OpenAI API. And that practice is using the environment variables. Storing your API key as an environment variable is widely recommended. It offers several benefits like enhanced security, flexibility in different development environments. Now, instead of hard coding your API key directly into your code, you can set it as an environment variable on your system or within your deployment environment. We need to know how to set environment variables on Windows, which will come in handy when working with the OpenAI API. To store the API key as an environment variable, open the Start menu, type environment variables in search, and then select the option Edit the system environment variables. Within the System Properties dialog box, you'll find the Environment Variables button. Go ahead and click on that to access the environment variables configuration. Now you'll see two sections, user variables and system variables. User variables apply only to your user account, while system variables are applied system-wide. If you want to set an environment variable specifically to your user account, you will use user variables. But here we are going to set a system-wide variable. So click on the New button under System Variables. In the New Environment Variable dialog, you will be prompted to provide a variable name and its corresponding value. Here you will want to set the variable name as your desired key name and the value as your API key. For example, you could use OpenAI underscore API underscore key as the variable name and paste your API key that you obtained from the OpenAI platform as the value. Before we begin, make sure you have the OpenAI library installed. You can easily do that by running the following command, pip install OpenAI. Let's set the OpenAI API key using the OpenAI library. Import the OpenAI library. We'll retrieve the key from the environment variable and assign it to OpenAI.API underscore key attribute. This step establishes the connection between your code and the OpenAI API. Now let's display the API key to ensure it was retrieved correctly. This step is optional but useful for verification purposes. Let us make an API request to generate text for the prompt "What is Python?" with a GPT 3.5 Turbo model as per the instructions in the site given in the description below, that is API reference OpenAI API. The following curl command is used to make the API request. Copy it from here and then let's convert the curl command to Python code so that it can be made useful for making requests to an API in a Python script. Let's paste the curl command in the ChatGPT interface. Please note I have opened chat.openai.com and in the interface I paste the curl command and I give the prompt convert the curl command to Python. We get a corresponding Python script which uses the requests library, which allows us to send HTTP requests easily. In the platform.openai.com, we go to making requests. So we see the curl command that is required and we can copy it. Let me paste the curl command and give the instruction convert curl command to Python. I get the equivalent Python code with instructions that I have to replace the OpenAI API key. I can copy this code and replace the OpenAPI key and the content as per the prompt that I need. Let's take our Python code and make the necessary changes. Remember to replace your API key with the actual API key that you obtained from the OpenAI platform, and also feel free to customize the data dictionary to include additional parameters. Here we have modified the prompt according to our need, which is what is Python. When we run the code, we get our first response through the API. First, we install OpenAI. I have already installed OpenAI, and then we import OpenAI, import OS, get the environment variables, and then we can print it. And finally, I can run it. This is the code that we saw in the presentation, and we get the final answer. The output is not very easy to read, so I open my chat.openai. I pasted the entire output in the chat window and I give the prompt, give output in JSON readable format that can be copied. This beautifully gives me the JSON in a readable format that I can copy. This was a simple startup video. There are a lot of jargons in the response JSON like model, completion tokens, prompt tokens, content, total tokens, finish, reason, and these we will decode in the next video. Thank you.